DeFranco. Just want to go and do a little roundtable on the commissioners that are present. If you want to say something, I'll start it off. And I just want to thank you for your 5 years of service, of volunteer service. Um, the majority of these people in this room are getting paid to do these things. Testifiers and commissioners are not getting paid to be here. And just wanted to point that out. And I just want to say I appreciate you for everything that you've done for 5 years, all the hours that you put in, all the emotions physically and mentally that you had to go through for 5 years. Um, People don't realize how difficult it is. And I just want to say I appreciate you. So if any other commissioner would like to say something, please go ahead. Vice Chair Nobuo.
Mahalo, Chair. So Commissioner DeFranco, I've only been here since June, so not a whole long time. But during that period, you have been very helpful to me, teaching me what's going on, when to talk, when not to talk, when to ask questions, when not to ask questions. I've found that very, very helpful. And I really appreciate all the help that you've given me. So thank you. And I'm going to miss you. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Dela Cruz.
Yeah, I just want to echo the other commissioners, Commissioner DeFranco. Thank you. I know, same with Nobuo. We've been here for a short time, but I just want to say my sincere gratitude for sharing your mana'o, and helping us and helping me and understand being in this seat. I know it's not hard, like Chair Al said too. It's not easy being in this position, but we're all volunteers, worker to make a change in a community. So thank you, and hope to see you around in North Kohala. And good luck.
You will. Thank you.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Just want to say, thank you for your service, and I know that you had some real hard personal hardships, and I admire you for sticking it out and being here. A lot of people would have skipped it, but you're always here, dedicated. So thank you.
I just want to take a minute to thank the planning department and all the staff too, besides my fellow commissioners and everybody. It's been a real pleasure to work with you and to learn from you and to be here as part of our community to really make a difference in our community. And I think we have. I was appointed by Harry Kim, it's like the changing of the mayors has happened, and all of us do our part to make sure that we have continuity, that we have compassion, that we use our intelligence and our critical thinking to sit here and to help others. Listen with a good ear and a kind heart. Yeah. And thank you, all of you. Appreciate you and all the people that I've gotten to know. Hi, Shane. Thank you.
Chair.
Go ahead, Director Darrell.
Thank you. I would also like to thank you for all your time and effort. Not many of you may know this, but Barbara was actually on the other side before she came on this side. She was an applicant for a special permit some time ago and went through the process and then decided to put her name in the hat to become a volunteer. And we just really appreciate all the time, the passion that you've brought, and all the mana'o. We just really appreciate it. We're going to miss you, Barbara. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll miss you too.
Thank you. But we still got you till 1 o'clock today, so don't go anywhere.
Let's go.
Okay, today, right now, I would like to call the regular meeting of the Leeward Planning Commission will now come to order. It is Thursday, April 17th, 2025, and the time is 9:40 a.m. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for taking the time to come to the Leeward Planning Commission meeting. Please turn off or silence your cell phones. Public restrooms and drinking fountains are available outside the entrance of the doors and to the right. If there is anyone here in person who would like to testify, please fill out the yellow sign-up form at the staff table. Also, if you have any written testimony that has not been sent in earlier, you may submit it to staff now. At this time, I would like to start by introducing the Leeward Planning Commission. To my left, Vice Chair Noborikawa.
Aloha.
To my far left, Commissioner DeFranco.
Aloha.
To my right, Commissioner De La Cruz.
Aloha.
To my far right, Commissioner Rodriguez.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Kanuha is absent and excused today. And my name is Dean Au, and I am chair, and we have quorum to hold this meeting. Also present are Deputy Corporation Counsel Susanna Tiapula as attorney for the commission, and it's present to advise the commission on legal matters.
Aloha.
And the planning director, Jeff Darrow, is present to advise the commission on planning matters should they have any questions.
Aloha.
The planning director is representing the planning department and is not a member of the planning commission. Commissioners, please confirm that you've had an opportunity to review all the materials related to the agenda items being reviewed today.
Aye.
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 Yes.
I note that each commissioner has verbally confirmed having an opportunity to review materials related to the agenda items being reviewed today and all submitted testimony, and I also have reviewed all items. At this time, we're gonna go ahead and approve our minutes from our prior meetings. So what I wanna do today is I would like to take these dates and I would like to put it together and make one motion. We do have minutes from November 21st, our regular minute meetings. We have our special general plan minute meetings on November 21st and November 22nd. We also have our December 19th, 2024 regular minutes and our December 19th, 2024 special general plan minutes and our January 16th, 2025 special general plan minutes meetings to be approved. And I ask, are there any corrections, or could I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner DeFranco and seconded by Vice Chair Noborikawa. Do we have any questions or discussions or changes to the minutes for those dates that I stated? No? Okay. Can we call for a vote, Maya?
I'm sorry, do you need a voice vote or a roll call? vote?
Sorry, a roll call vote.
Chair, could you tell me who made the motion and seconded?
So the motion was made by Commissioner DeFranco and seconded by Vice Chair Noborikawa.
Thank you. Commissioner DeFranco,
Aye.
Vice Chair Noborikawa,
Aye.
Commissioner De La Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Chair Au.
Aye.
Chair, the motion carries with 5 ayes and 1 absent.
Okay, thank you, Maya. So the last minutes of approval for the minutes of February 22nd and the minutes of February 24 have been deferred to the next commission meeting in May. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and take statements from the public. How many Zoom testifiers do we have?
We do not have any Zoom testifiers at the beginning of the meeting, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now begin public testimony, starting with in-person speakers. Testimony will continue until all are heard. Public comments are welcome, and any agenda item are now or when the item is called. Testifiers in person, please press the microphone button and speak directly and clearly into the microphone so your statements can be recorded. We don't have any Zoom testifiers, but I'll just go ahead and read the script. Zoom testifiers, please keep your video off and audio muted until called to speak. This is an in-person meeting, and Zoom, YouTube are provided as a courtesy. The meeting will continue even if these connections fail. Please keep your testimony respectful and delivered with the law to me as the chair. Personal attacks and disruptive behavior will not be permitted, and I may pause or end the meeting at any time if necessary to maintain decorum. All public testimony is limited to 3 minutes. I ask each of you to please respect the limit so we can hear from as many of you as possible. Do we have any in-person testifiers?
No, Chair, we have no in-person testifiers at this time.
Okay, good. Well, let's just go ahead and go right into agenda item number 1. Agenda item number 1 is applicant Nani Paniao Estate LLC, application for a use permit to allow the establishment of a 5-bedroom bed and breakfast operation within an existing dwelling on a 1.63 acre parcel of land in the single family residential zoning district. The subject property is located at 69-2014 Paniao Place on the west Mackay side of Paniao Place, Lalamilo, Puoko, South Kohala, Hawaii, TMK 369001021. For the record, the applicant number is PLUSC 2024-00031. Can we have staff presentation, please? Ms. Andrews and Mr. K.
Thank you, Chair. This is an application for a use permit, and the applicant is Nani Paniao Estate LLC. Subject property is shown here with a red star. It's in the South Kohala district, and it's on the Mackay side of Paniao Place. The applicant is requesting a use permit to establish a 5-bedroom bed and breakfast operation within an existing 6-bedroom dwelling on the subject property. The bed and breakfast will accommodate a maximum of 10 guests for a period of less than 30 days, with the 6-bedroom serving as the primary residence of the property's caretaker. And 6 on-site parking stalls will be available for guests of the bed and breakfast. The applicant aims to provide visitors to Hawaii with an alternative lodging experience outside of the typical resort environment, and the proposed use will also provide housing for the bed and breakfast operator. The subject property is shown here in red. It is zoned residential single family, 10,000 square feet. There's also open zoning and agricultural zoning in the close vicinity, as well as some resort zoning further south. The subject property is designated urban by the state land use boundary map. There's also conservation zoning further Mauka and to the south. The subject property is designated low density urban with a small portion of open designation by the general plan on the LUPAG map. This is the applicant's site plan, and you can see the existing dwelling shown on kind of the upper portion of the property, on the upper portion of the slide. There's an existing driveway that comes off of Paniel Place. And there are also several archaeological easements that are existing, shown with the red dashed outline there. I should point out on this site plan that the existing the existing bedrooms that are being used for the bed and breakfast are to the left portion of the footprint of the dwelling. You can see here, it'll be in a little more detail on the floor plan, which is shown here. And you can see that the existing bedrooms being used for the bed and breakfast are on this left portion of the floor plan. There's also a bedroom here, which is the upstairs, and the caretaker's bedroom is shown here with the red outline. This is the aerial photograph, and you can see the existing dwelling in the center of the lot there. The lot is outlined in red. And this is one lot that's part of an existing 9-lot subdivision that's owned by the same landowner. And the lot is accessed from Paniel Place, which is a private drive that comes off of Puuko Beach Drive. You can see Puuko Beach Drive kind of on the upper right-hand portion of the slide. This would be Puuko Beach Drive. This would be Paniel Place. And the driveway is approximately on this corner, the Mauka north corner of the property there. As you can see, it's a shoreline parcel, and the existing shoreline, well, clearly the existing property line runs along the shoreline here. There is a lateral trail that runs north-south along this shoreline. So these are some photos taken recently at the property. This is a view of Puuko Beach Drive, looking north on the left and looking south on the right. This shows that it's a dead end of Puuko Beach Drive here, and there's an emergency exit that exists here. On the left, you can see the entry gate at Puuko Beach Drive. There are 2 vehicular gates and 1 pedestrian gate on the right there. The right slide shows you the driveway from Paniel Place once you've entered through the entry gate, and the existing dwelling is a little bit downhill on in the center of the photo there. These are views of Paniel Place, the private drive within the subdivision, looking to the north back to the entry gate, and then looking to the south down to the end of the drive. And these are views across the subject property. The left shows some of the archaeological easement areas, and then the existing grassy area. This is looking Mackay, and you can see a glimpse of the dwelling here. And then on the right, you see the existing dwelling, showing the wing on that would be the left side of the floor plan, where you saw some of the existing bedrooms that will serve as the bed and breakfast. This map shows you the revised lot plan that was part of a recent declaration that was recorded in 2021. And this is just to show you that the access easement that used to exist on the subject property was actually relocated to the adjacent property. So that's not part of the subject property at this time. And the planning director's recommendation is approval with conditions. That completes my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, before we move on to questions for the staff, I would like Corporation Counsel to have a few words.
Aloha. We have been asked as a ADA accommodation request to speak very clearly and slowly directly into the mic during specific agenda items today. So I will be reminding people not to have multiple individuals speaking at the same time or over speaking, and to speak more slowly and clearly where possible. Thank you.
Also, another thing I would like to add to that, if you do want to speak, commissioners, please wait for my nod or till I call upon you. So at this time, thank you, Ms. Andrews. Does any commissioners have any questions for staff? Commissioner DeFranco?
Yes, how far is the setback away from the ocean? I know we've changed it over the years. How?
So the existing setback is 40 feet.
Thank you. And the archaeological sites that are there, are they protected or what are they exactly? What are?
So that was all part of the existing SMA
Yeah.
that covers this entire subdivision. There were ARC sites that were identified and buffered and established as easements. This current application proposes no new construction, so the use is taking place within the existing dwelling.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dela Cruz, question?
Oh, yeah, just a question about the public access. I noticed you, on your presentation, there was like a gate, is like in a private road or driveway. Is there an access through that gate for the public to access the beach? Because it looks like the lot next to the subject matter has the beach access. Is there access through that gate?
So through the course of working on this use permit application, there's been some questions that have come up about access that pertain more closely to the SMA. And what you're referring to is an access easement that it's actually unclear whether that's public access or private access. And there is a public access plan that was approved many years ago that lays out the specific access points and approved access for this area. It's not clear actually that access was part of the public access plan. And right now there's an SMA assessment that's under review by our office and is in process that will further resolve some of the questions about public access.
Ms. Andrews, I have a question regarding the SMA permit. So the SMA permit, from what I'm reading, was approved back in 1993. Is that correct?
It may have been 92, but yeah, approximately that.
Okay, so that was a long time ago. And since then, has there been any records of violations or complaints or anything that was filed with the county?
Regarding the SMA, not to my knowledge. There is an assessment, like I said, an SMA assessment under review right now, and it is in process and could address anything that may have come up, but I am not aware of any complaints regarding that.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from fellow commissioners? No? Okay, at this time, what we'll do is we'll call on the applicant for their presentation. Will the applicant please come forward so I can swear you in? Okay. Mr. Pippin, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth on this matter now before the Leeward Planning Commission?
I do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pippin. Please speak directly into your microphone and state your name, the town you reside in, and whom you represent.
My name is John Pippin, here representing the applicant's Nani Paniao group. I live in Honoka'a. I'll try to be mindful and remember to speak slowly and clearly, but please remind me if I fail. Thank you. We have received and reviewed the proposed conditions and appreciate the work that's gone into this application by the planning department. The applicant agrees with these proposed conditions. This is a special property. It's the intent of the applicant to open it up and allow visitors, residents, others to enjoy the property as well as they have. There are significant protections in place regarding not only the archaeological sites on the property, secured by easements, also incline pools on the property are protected by a management plan. And these protections are not only on file with the county, they are in the CCNRs for these subject properties. It so happens that these 9 residential lots are owned by the same entity. And we think that that really limits the potential for adverse impact onto neighbors. The state would be the nearest neighbor to this property. Also, the applicants are in charge of and in relation to Na'alahele trails. They are stewards of the coastal trail that crosses the State Beach Reserve parcel on the Mackay side of this property. And they do diligent work to keep the trail free of obstructions from vegetation, rubbish, so on and so forth. If there are any questions relating to the use, the building itself, there were questions relating to public access, and we will work through those with the planning department and make sure what is required by the existing SMA and by law is in place. I can assure you of that. Otherwise, happy for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pippin. At this time, fellow commissioners, does anybody have questions? Vice Chair Nobuikawa?
Thank you, Chair Howell. Thank you, Mr. Pippin, for your presentation. And remind me if I speak too fast also. Could you go into more detail on the CCNRs in respect to the protections that are placed for the archaeological easements and the ancholine ponds?
Yes. One moment, please. I'll pull those up. Okay. 5.01.3 archaeological site preservation within the residential area. There are A, B, C, D, E, F, G conditions in the CCNRs relating to the archaeological sites. The boundaries, this is A, the boundaries of the established archaeological site buffer zone surrounding the archaeological site shall at all times remain clearly visible. And particularly in the case of this project, you'll see in some of the site photos, we have temporary construction fence around the archaeological site easements and further dry stack rock walls surrounding these archaeological sites that provide buffers, identify the sites. B, the archaeological site and site buffer zone shall be kept free from rubbish and litter. This site is very well maintained and no rubbish and litter occurs. C, all grass, landscaping, and plantings within the designated archaeological site buffer zone shall be trimmed and maintained in good condition, and the archaeological site and the site buffer zone shall be kept free from any weeds or noxious plants. Again, there's very nice landscaping that's maintained on this site. D, no heavy equipment shall be allowed within the boundaries of the archaeological site and the site buffer zone for the purpose of clearing or maintaining these areas. All maintenance activities within the boundaries of the archaeological site and the site buffer zone shall be done utilizing hand clearing methods. And that's essentially what this temporary construction fence is there indicating. Do not pass. This is a protected area. E, all walls, fences, or other structures constructed within any site buffer zone for the protection or preservation of an archaeological site shall be maintained in good condition and repair. We're complying with that. F, almost through. The County Planning Department and the Department of Land and Natural Resources Historic Sites Division and the association of the subdivision shall be notified of any damage or physical disturbance to the archaeological site. And last but not least, G, county and state personnel shall be permitted to inspect the archaeological site. So those are the protections established within the CCNRs on the property.
Thank you. Now, on the dry stacked walls, is that at the edge of the boundary for all of the easements? That specifically talking about this property?
Yeah. Is my understanding, yes, that dry stack rock walls surround each of these archaeological sites.
Thank you very much. I have a question in regards to the septic tanks for this existing structure. The report said that there were 2 septic systems.
Correct.
But there was no size given and no number of bedrooms that they would accommodate. Could you clarify that for us?
Yes, thank you for your question. The original building permit in the mid-90s allowed for 6 bedrooms, and typically the limit for a single individual wastewater system, septic system, is 5 bedrooms. So the fact that this property has 2 septic systems and permitted for 6 bedrooms, this is consistent with our request. Everything lines up with sufficient wastewater capacity to handle what's generated by the use.
Okay, thank you. In the background report, it does identify that the property tax office, as well as the documents that were submitted for this application, it actually says that the residence is 7 bedrooms. Although like you said, it was permitted for 6 bedrooms. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yes, of course. Thanks again for the question. Real property tax doesn't rely on permit data when they indicate on their tax records how many bedrooms a structure has. They're happy to tax unpermitted structures, right? So in this case, there are several like accessory rooms that were permitted with the original dwelling, like a library or a study, a game room. They're all permitted rooms. And previously, other owners may have had an extra bed in one of these rooms. That's not our intent going forward. The intent is to have 5 bedrooms for rent and 1 bedroom for the operator, which is consistent with the permit, the building permit records.
But the application that was submitted said it was 7 bedrooms plus the site plan that was, or floor plan that was submitted shows the quote library having a full bathroom and a closet,
Yes.
which is very similar to all the other things labeled bedrooms.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, it's a little difficult. The original building drawings, the permit set of drawings have been lost to time. So we relied on our project architects to make their best educated guesses of what the original permit corresponded to each of these spaces. That said, in going forward, if any change of use is required by Department of Public Works, we're happy to comply with that.
And just to clarify for myself, so the library,
Yes,
does it really contain a full bathroom and a closet?
that's what it looks like, yes.
Okay, thank you. I also noticed in the background report that there were permits that were issued for a demolition of the old pool, construction of a new pool and a lanai with it. And that was issued, but it's not been finalized.
Correct.
And then also a garage permit that was applied for but never issued. What is the status of those permits?
The garage permit has recently been issued. I do not honestly have the latest on the pool permit. We may have Hunter Ainsley, who is the project manager, available by Zoom. He may have the latest on the pool permit. Hi, Hunter.
Yes, thank you, John.
You need to be sweared in first.
Okay.
Can you please raise your right hand? This is Chair Al. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth on this matter now before the Leeward Planning Commission?
I do.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please speak clearly into your computer microphone and state your name and town you reside in and whom you represent.
Hi, my name is Hunter Ainsley. I reside in Waimea, and I represent Nani Paniao Estate LLC, the applicant today.
Okay, I believe Vice Chair Noborikawa had a few questions that you could answer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So the construction work accompanied in that permit is under construction as we speak. We hope to have that completed by the end of May. So the goal is to final that the pool permit and the deck permit or it's one permit, but to have all of that final by the end of May.
And are you also working on the garage?
That's correct. The garage permit was issued for processing, so we're in the process of picking up that permit, and the intent is to start that garage as soon as May or end of May, hopefully June.
And what is the timeline for completion of the garage?
Hopefully by the end of the year. That is the target.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Pittman, the reason I was asking these questions is because the garage
Yes,
looks like it's shown where 3 of the guest parking spaces are going to be.
correct.
How will the garage construction impact the ability for your guests to park in that area or on the property, I should say?
It would prevent them from parking in that area until the garage is completed. So with that in mind, we would be happy to reduce, limit, or delay occupancy until the garage is completed. The site will look a lot nicer when that's done too. Alternately, if you would prefer, we can designate other parking areas for use in the interim until the garage is completed. There is ample space on site around. You saw a circular drive there and a porte cochere in front of the residence. So there is ample space. The intent, though, is for long-term parking to be in the garage.
Okay, so what I'm understanding then is the applicant is willing to designate other areas on the property during the construction phase so that there will be no guest parking out
Correct.
off the site.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and what I'm getting from our discussions also is that pretty much the others parking spaces are existing. There will be no new ground disturbance then?
I believe there will be additional driveway area and maneuvering space in front of the proposed garage. And let me confirm, I believe that may be also site to one of the proposed parking spaces. Sorry, just pull up the site plan again. But that would be a new parking area.
And was that covered in terms of looking at potential impacts to archaeological or cultural resources? Was that looked
Yes.
at in the SMA?
Yes, that was already permitted with the garage in
Okay.
that SMA assessment.
And I forgot to ask you, when you're talking about CCNRs for the anchuline ponds, are there anchuline ponds on this specific property?
Don't believe there are.
Okay.
No, these are all archaeological easements. The anchuline ponds refer to other parcels in this subdivision.
Okay, so those, that oval, there are some ovals shown on the site plan. Are those contour lines then, rather than some physical feature? I mean,
No.
an archaeological pond?
No, we don't show contour lines on these site plans. But yes, some of the easements do have an oval form, and the ancholine pool bounds are established by the highest level of the water and then a 10-foot buffer from that.
Okay, so I was specifically looking at page 15 of the background report, which showed a figure, which unfortunately, let's see, it's not coming up here. I think it was labeled as figure 2.
Yeah.
It was in the applicant's report.
I'm looking at that, the site plan.
So there are a couple, like the upper left corner of that somewhat rectangle. It shows this little,
Yeah,
do you know what that is?
I honestly don't. Hunter, on the, yeah, I wish we could share screen with you.
Yes, I'm looking at it, John. Thank you. Yeah, that area is currently all just a grass lawn, so I don't know what that blob is showing.
It's an artifact. It's nothing really.
Okay, so the bottom line is no ancholine ponds.
No.
That's correct. No ancholine ponds on this TMK.
Okay, and then my final question is, for this project, have there been any lineal descendants contacted? Or do you know if there are any lineal descendants of this property contacted with the 1991 plat or the 94 SFR permitting? I mean, I don't expect you to really know that, but
Yeah.
I'm assuming you weren't involved, but do you have any background information?
That's correct. I do have a great deal of background information. There were numerous studies and monitoring and mitigation reports submitted and approved by the State Historic Preservation Division with respect to the SMA permitting. And you're right, I wasn't involved at that time, so unfortunately, I can't speak directly to who was consulted. With some time, I could probably get you that information.
Thank you for that offer. I just wanted to find out some of the background of that, whether they were contacted or not. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nobukawa. Moving forward, if we can try not to have back and forth discussion for Kelsey, because it's very challenging for Kelsey to do the minutes. So if we can, moving forward, commissioners, let's ask the question. Let's let the testifier or applicant speak and then take turns. Yeah, fellow commissioners, any more questions? Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes, to my understanding, is there a pool being built at the property?
A pool? Yes.
Okay, and if we go to page 43 on the Department of Water, it says that you're only allowed like an average of 400 gallons of water per day. Is that gonna be enough water to run the whole operation?
Yes. So it is a concern of going over. I do believe there is a private well that serves this lot as well that can be employed if there are any concerns on overage with the county water supply for irrigation and for pool filling needs. Department of Water Supply always has that ability to limit the water to a property should it become a concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Mr. Pippin, regarding public access. So from what I understand, you stated that the landowner owns a total of 9 properties and encompassing it. And I'm looking at the map, and I believe it's this particular agenda item is for that middle parcel. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just for us to move forward and make a decision or advice for public access, do any of the other 8 properties have public access?
No, they do not. They have a beach access easement established for the association and the lot owners. It extends from the private Paniao Place roadway to the Mackay State Beach parcel. The public access agreement that was approved in concert with the 91 SMA permit designates public access occurring Malcolm Mackay at Paniao Beach to the north of this subdivision, and then lateral access occurring along the trail that fronts this property. As part of that public access plan, the developers at that time were to contribute to the establishment of Paniao Beach to satisfy their requirements for public access. And this is all a matter of public record.
And you did mention that you and the applicant are working with the county right now,
Yes.
addressing public access.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Fellow commissioners, any more questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Pippin. All right, fellow commissioners, prepared for a motion or not?
We have someone on Zoom waving their hand.
Oh, there I see. Okay. I believe we have a testifier. I'll go ahead and take the Zoom testifier. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth on this matter now before the Leeward Planning Commission?
Yes, I do.
Okay, please speak directly into your microphone and state your name and town you reside in and whom you represent. So please go ahead.
My name is Claudia Rohr. I'm a member of POSH, Public Access Shoreline Hawaii. I don't see where there's been any discussion of what use the properties on either side of this property, the other lots in the subdivision. Does the applicant intend to run those as bed and breakfast or as hosted vacation rentals? Second, this does not look like the bed and breakfast operation is subordinate to the single family use. I got a bed and breakfast use permit in 2003, and I calculated the exact square footage. It was 36.8% of our total square footage. And I have been using that number ever since on my income tax returns, Schedule C, and I think that if you add up the square footage, this actually is a hosted STVR, because having, first of all, Act 17, effective date May 3rd, 2024, changed transient accommodations are no longer a residential use. So the first thing you really have to establish is that this is really a single family a single family use under the definition of it in 205A and the Planning Commission rules, Rule 9. Unless there's actually an established family living there,
You have 30 seconds left.
Okay, you need to ask more questions. When I did my application, I put it in pink, exactly the square footage that was designated to my bed and breakfast. They haven't done that. And really, what's happening on both sides? You need to know if this is a plan to do 5 bed and breakfasts in a row, hiring caretakers. I'm not sure if that's falls into the legal definition of bed and
The
breakfast
3 minutes are
permits.
finished. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rohr, for your testimony. We have heard you. Thank you very much. Mr. Pippin, would you like to address some of those concerns?
Yes, thank you, Chair Al, for the opportunity. This is a single-family residence. It will be the full-time legal residence of an on-site caretaker and operator. And the bed and breakfast use will be subordinate to that use. We did not calculate any percentage of the home that would be associated with either use. And as I understand, there's no such requirement in the code to do so, nor is there really procedurally any process with the planning department that has been established to do that. Relating to the plans for the other parcels, they are currently only conceptual, and they would consist of dwellings only. Any short-term hosted like B&B accommodations would be by use permit, just like this one, and would be subject to review and approval or denial by this body. So hopefully that addresses that testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Pippin. Fellow commissioners, do you have any questions? Any further questions? Okay. If not, we're closing. Public testimony is closed. Okay. So fellow commissioners, any motions to proceed? Commissioner DeFranco?
Yeah, I'll move that the favorable recommendation be forwarded to the county council on the proposed amendments to. Is this right?
No.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. I move that the application for the use permit docket PL USE 2024-000031 be approved based on the planning director's recommendations, which shall be adopted. And this includes his recommendations.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner DeFranco, seconded by Vice Chair Noborikawa. Any discussions?
Yes.
Please go ahead, Commissioner DeFranco.
Yeah, I think it is a beautiful development to see it. But I do share the concern of the one person who spoke up about it. You know, it doesn't look like a single family residential home being used as a B&B. But the question for me is to include a discussion with us and also to ask the county to speak about that. considered a B and B? Is that within the right rules and regulations? Can Mr. Darrow speak to that?
Director Darrow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, the planning department looks at hosted rentals, as long as they're operating within the definitions of a single-family dwelling, as well as the identification of the construction of the dwelling, which basically means one kitchen. You don't want to go beyond that. They are permitted, they have their building permits. Instead of going the hosted route, because right now that's in question, the council is about to launch their attempt to regulate hosted rentals. That even through that process, the option to come in with a bed and breakfast permit will still be available. That was made loud and clear through public testimony going through that process. This applicant is requesting to go through the public process to receive this permit and not be considered a hosted rental or a short-term rental, but a bed and breakfast.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm glad to hear the update too. Thank you.
If I may, it will be on a webinar or a Zoom tonight, starting at 5:30. I think if you just look at the website, hawaiicountytar.com, I believe you can have the link for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any further questions or any discussions from commissioners? Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes, my concern is the water usage. You know, there's a 1 meter, a master meter for 9 lots, and it's allowed 4,000 gallons per day. So that's my concern, that water usage. You know, I know you could pump more out, but you know, it's still, you know, water's precious. So that's my concern, that there's not enough water to, you know, add a swimming pool and add more persons there. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Mr. Pippin, would you like to address
Yeah,
that?
If I may. There was previously a swimming pool in the same location as the proposed swimming pool. So it's a replacement of a pre-existing use, not necessarily a new use. And, you know, I can attest that the applicants will be very conscious of their water use, especially irrigation, right? Making sure the highest, best use of the water is that for public human consumption.
Vice Chair Noborikawa?
Thank you, Chair. So I did have a number of concerns when I initially read this application, or the information about this application. I feel that they have been adequately addressed, and I thank you for that, Mr. Pippin.
Thank you.
I have a concern about public access. I would like to strongly encourage the applicant to figure something out with the county. That's a beautiful place. The guests are going to enjoy it. And I think it's fair to have the residents and the public enjoy it as well. So I strongly encourage that process. I strongly encourage coming to some kind of agreement. And yeah, that's my only concern. So with that said, if there's no more discussions, can we call for the question?
So we have a motion on the floor that was moved by Commissioner DeFranco and seconded by Vice Chair Noborikawa to approve as recommended by the planning director. Commissioner DeFranco,
Aye.
Vice Chair Naborikawa,
Aye.
Commissioner De La Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
No,
That was no.
no.
And Chair Ao.
Aye.
We have 4 aye votes and one no vote. The motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pippin. You will be notified in writing.
Have a
Thank you
great
very
rest of your
much.
day. Aloha.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. At this point, we'll go into agenda item number 2. Initiator, Planning Director, PL, PDI 2025-000014. The Planning Director has initiated an ordinance to amend Chapter 25 zoning, Article 1, Article 2, Article 4, Article 5, and Article 7 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2016 edition as amended, relating to zoning district regulations for meeting facilities, community buildings and churches, temples, and synagogues. The purpose of this bill is to remove the definitions and references to churches, temples, synagogues, and community buildings, and consolidate them under meeting facilities and establish standards for their development to ensure equitable treatment in the zoning code. So at this time, can we have staff presentation by Ms. Camero?
Good morning, Chair and members of the Leeward Planning Commission. Before you today, we have the Planning Director initiated bill, which is relating to zoning district regulations for meeting facilities, churches, temples, synagogues, and community buildings. This specifically is an amendment to Chapter 25, Article 1, Article 2, Article 4, Article 5, and Article 7 of the Hawaii County Code. First off, the purpose of this bill aims to correct zoning inconsistencies and ensures that religious institutions receive equitable treatment under the Hawaii County Code zoning code. This ordinance consolidates religious institutions under the meeting facility definition, ensuring that there's equal treatment in zoning regulations. This bill also consolidates the overlapping term community buildings into meeting facilities for clarity and consistency. Additionally, it introduces the term event to distinguish routine facility uses from larger commercial gatherings, such as weddings or concerts, which may require a special permit or other oversight. So again, the purpose of this bill, it's first to remove the definition of community building. It revises the definition of meeting facility to include religious institutions. It introduces the term event to distinguish commercial or large-scale gatherings from routine facility uses. It establishes a standardized operating criteria for meeting facilities, including limitations on hours of operation and attendance capacity. It requires a technical review of proposed meeting facilities by applicable county and state agencies. And it amends the permitted uses for meeting facilities across the zoning districts. A quick background on this: the federal government enacted the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act of 2000, also known as RLUIPA, in part to protect religious organizations and individuals from discriminatory land use regulations. In February 2024, the Shabbat Jewish Center and Rabbi Levi Gerlitsky filed a lawsuit against the Hawaii County, claiming that the zoning code discriminates against religious institutions by requiring them to obtain use permits in residential zones, while secular meeting facilities can be operated by right. The U.S. Department of Justice filed a statement in the lawsuit in March of 2024, alleging that the county codes violates the RLUIPA's equal terms provision by treating religious uses less favorably than comparable secular uses. Therefore, the planning director is proposing amendments to the Hawaii County Code to classify religious institutions as meeting facilities, therefore aiming to eliminate any zoning disparities, ensuring RLUIPA compliance, and promoting a clear, fair land use standards. The first proposed amendment is relating to definitions. The following definition is proposed to be removed from section 25-1-5B, and that is the definition of a community building. By removing the community building definition, this will simplify the zoning code by eliminating redundancy. In addition, the director is proposing to amend the definition of meeting facility, which is proposed to be amended as follows. A meeting facility will now mean a facility or building site that is used for recreational, social, or multi-purpose use and may include a kitchen, but has no transient accommodations. Typical uses include private clubs, union halls, cultural, community and association centers, religious facilities such as places of worship, and student centers. This does not include schools or events. The following definition is also proposed to be added to section 25-1-5, and that is the definition of an event, which will mean an assembly, generally by invitation or ticket purchase, that extends beyond the typical meeting facility or residential use, including but not limited to commercial weddings, wedding receptions, promotional events, and concerts. The reasons for this amendment is that it adds clarity by distinguishing routine meeting facility uses from the larger commercial gatherings. This ensures that activities like weddings, receptions, and concerts are properly regulated and not automatically permitted as part of a meeting facility. The proposed amendments in section 25-271C relating to plan approval. This establishes specific procedures for the director's review and decision-making on plan approval actions. My apologies, there's a pop-up. So again, this establishes specific procedures for the director's review and decision-making on plan approval actions. Therefore, we are adding meeting facilities and events to this section. And this section a plan approval shall be required in all applicable districts prior to the construction or establishment of the following improvements and uses. This will now include meeting facilities and events in items 1 and 6. This amendment clarifies that plan approval is required before meeting facilities and events are established, ensuring proper land use oversight and compliance with zoning regulations. In addition, the planning director is proposing an additional amendment to this section to correct an error, specifically in the subsection C6, to state events as defined under section 25-1-5, rather than events as permitted under section 25-5-42, which is actually a permitted use section in the zoning code. Continuing with the proposed amendments relating to plan approval requirements for meeting facilities, the following section is proposed to be added to establish the zoning standards for meeting facilities. This new section is titled Section 25-4-17, Meeting Facilities, and it will include letter A, which is a meeting facility can be established within a new or existing structure or on a building site for recreational, social, cultural, or multi-purpose use. The facility may include a kitchen. B, a meeting facility may be used for organizations operating on a membership basis for the promotion of members' mutual interests, or may be primarily intended for community purposes. C, a meeting facility only applies on building sites that have gatherings more than 2 times per week with more than 25 attendees. And the planning director wanted me to just make a note for letter C that at the April 3rd Windward Planning Commission meeting, the Windward Planning Commission did add that letter C will also go on to state that this 25 attendees will be exclusive of family members. Section 25-4-17 continues on to letter D, which is the hours of operation for meeting facilities shall start no earlier than 8 a.m. and ends no later than 9 p.m. Letter E, a meeting facility can be established in a zoning district that permits such use, provided that the director has issued a plan approval. And lastly, letter F, a meeting facility shall be subject to technical review by the County Department of Public Works, County Fire Department, County Water Department, and or the State Department of Health for compliance with current code and rule requirements. In addition, the zoning code is proposed to be amended on your screen as follows. We thought it would be easier to see it rather than the multiple pages of zoning code that's being amended. So as you can see in the first row, this is the RS, RD, RM, and RCX zoning districts, where meeting facilities will be allowed as a permitted use. Meeting facilities, including events, will not be permitted, and community buildings will be removed, as well as the churches, temples, and synagogues will be removed as a use permit. In addition, the RA, FA, and A zoning districts will allow for meeting facilities as well as meeting facilities, including events, to be allowed as either a special permit or use permit. And it will also remove community buildings as well as remove churches, temples, and synagogues. In the IA district, meeting facilities with, as well as meeting facilities, including events, will be allowed only as a special permit. And again, community buildings and churches, temples, and synagogues will be removed. In the V, CN, CG, CV, MCX, and CDH district, meeting facilities as well as including events will also be allowed as a permitted use. And again, community buildings, churches, temples, and synagogues will be removed. Within the ML and the MG district, meeting facilities will be allowed as a permitted use. Meeting facilities, including events, will only be allowed as a permitted use in the ML district. And again, community buildings, churches, temples, and synagogues will be removed. Lastly, in the O district, meeting facilities as well as meeting facilities including events will not be permitted, and community buildings and churches and temples and synagogues will also be not permitted. Right now, the planning director is recommending that we forward a favorable recommendation to the county council, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Camaro. Fellow commissioners, do you have any questions for staff? Vice Chair Nobuokawa?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Camaro, for your presentation. Just so that I have it clear in my mind, the primary reason you're in front of us here today is because the current county code is out of compliance with federal law, and we're trying to make the county code comply with federal law. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. So I also wanted to thank you for this table showing the zoning comparisons, zoning use comparisons. I ended up making my own table at home because I was just having trouble with all those lines of talk. I also appreciate the note in the recommendations that said reason for amendment. That made it very clear. And I would love to see that in all the rest of the ones. I was getting kind of confused on some of the earlier ones. But thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, any more questions for Ms. Camaro? If not, we'll go into, do we have any testifiers on Zoom or in person?
Chair, you have no in-person testifiers at this time.
Do we have any Zoom testifiers?
Hello, Chair. Oh, we have one testifier on Zoom.
Okay, hello, Ms. Rohr, I believe you are sworn in already. So you can go ahead. You have 3 minutes to testify. Please go ahead.
Good morning again. The director's proposed zoning ordinance as written is unconstitutionally vague, overbroad, and unenforceable, and inequitable. It requires that the planning department's enforcement officers intrude into gatherings and detain attendees to count heads, a violation of citizens' constitutional rights on so many levels. It's better to have a fair and straightforward enforcement zoning code with notice and an opportunity for all to be heard. Excuse me. There's no, excuse me, please be patient. As written, this amendment arbitrarily treats residential zone districts with less favorable regulatory controls than it does agricultural zone districts, even though residential neighborhoods will experience more adverse effects from meeting facilities as compared to agricultural neighborhoods. Not all roads are the same. Many of our local roads date back to 1920, and are substandard even on the ground. Allowing this to go forward will violate my personal rights for safety and well-being, in that my next door neighbor is holding outdoor cultural classes, and they are operating on 3 building sites, which would allow them to have 75 persons twice a week. And the parking has changed. The director has unreasonably decreased the parking in meeting facilities. It should be amended, and there should be a use permit required for meeting facilities in every
You have 30 seconds
zone.
left.
This is my version of the definition of meeting facility. Meeting facility means a permanent, he took that out, facility that is used for nonprofit, he took that out, recreational, social, or multi-purpose use that must have adequate bathroom facilities and off-street parking, and may include a kitchen, but
Your
has
3
no
minutes are
transient
finished. Thank you for your
accommodations.
testimony.
Please let me finish the sentence. May I have permission?
Yes, please go ahead. I'll give you, just finish up
Typical
and
uses
summarize.
include private closed union halls, cultural and community association centers, religious facilities such as places of worship and student centers. This land use category does not include schools or events. Book clubs, Bible study groups, and other small weekly social or cultural gatherings may register as a home occupation as permitted under section 25.4.13. If you read my first testimony that is in your board packet, it has 2 statements that very transparently tells people that they can ask for a modification of the zoning code in order to practice their religion and associate with members of their faith in their home. And
Thank you, Ms. Rohr.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
sorry, I feel strongly this will go to court.
Thank you, Ms. Rohr. We have heard your testimony. Thank you very much. Do we have any more testifiers in person or in Zoom? Okay, we have none. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and close public testimony. Public testimony is closed. Director Darrow, would you like to respond at all to any of the comments?
Sure, thank you, Chair. As Tracy had mentioned through the presentation, that we are in this position because of a pending lawsuit stating that our zoning code is currently unconstitutional, mainly because we have a requirement for churches, temples, and synagogues to go through a use permit process in certain zoning districts. This particular event was within a residential zoning district. And other uses that are similar in nature in residential zoning districts that did not require going through that particular process. They were permitted either outright or required plan approval. So in discussion with parties back and forth, there were, I don't want to say agreements, but there was, you know, the opportunity for us to present something that appeared to resolve the conflicts within the code through this process. There were 2 directions we could have gone. We could have gone to require a use permit for all the similar uses or to require plan approval. We had chosen in discussion with all parties to pursue the plan approval process. The reason why we are looking at 25 people 2 times a week as the balance is because even prior to this situation occurring, we would get not continual, but every, on a regular basis, we would get calls or complaints or questions from the public. Am I okay to have a party or a personal wedding? And when I say wedding, I mean specifically a wedding for the people that live at the residence. And it's a one-time kind of thing, not a regular commercial wedding or a birthday party or something that obviously occurs at, and even every Sunday having a, Super Bowl or a football party at their house where they have, a number of people, right? Um, we would get complaints. These guys are operating some sort of, event on a regular basis. And we would do our investigation and find out that, oh, it's, a Bible study that was occurring, or it was friends getting together to have a good time watching a football game or a birthday party or something. So we wanted to make sure that we captured this particular occurrence that happens pretty regularly. Not, we didn't think it would go beyond 2 days a week. I mean, that's kind of extreme, but we wanted to have that balance. So that was why you see 2 times a week, no more than 25 people. If you go beyond that, we consider you a meeting facility and you come in for plan approval, which requires parking, on-site parking. It requires looking at the structures, whether they're temporary tent structures or whether it's within the residence or whether they build a new structure. All of that is taken into consideration through the plan approval process. What this does not do is have a public hearing process similar to a use permit. So keep that in mind. We don't get a lot of complaints regarding, and not to say we don't get any, but we don't get a lot of complaints of these types of uses occurring on a regular basis. And that's why we felt like the balance would go to lean towards the plan approval process. And, again, we can see how it goes. We think this would resolve the pending lawsuit and bring our code into compliance. But in the future, if this particular direction seems to not work, we get a lot more complaints or something, there's always the opportunity to bring the other direction where all of these uses come under a use permit or a special permit. Ms. Ruard brought up, why is it required in the agricultural district to go through a public hearing versus a residential zoning? In the county agricultural district, it's a permitted use. It's the state land use agricultural district that triggers the need for the use permit. I mean, the special permit, which would require a public hearing. That's outside of our jurisdiction, and we have no say in that matter. That's something state law has to deal with, but right now, currently, that is not a permitted use within the state land use agricultural district. Anyway, hopefully that clears up everything. If you have any questions, I'm open to suggestions or answers.
Thank you, Director Darrow. Vice Chair Noborikawa.
Thank you, Chair Al. So, Director Darrow, could you tell us what the Planning Department's feeling is about the amendment that the Windward Planning Commission proposed, that the 25 be exclusive of family members?
We're supportive.
Okay, if we have no more questions for Director Darrow, I'm prepared for a motion so we can discuss. Commissioner Dela Cruz.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion. I move that the favorable recommendation be forwarded to the County Council on the proposed amendment to Chapter 25 zoning Article 1, Article 2, Article 4, Article 5, and Article 7 of the Hawaii County Code 2016 edition as amended, document number PL-PDI-2025-000014, based on the Planning Director's recommendation.
Commissioner DeFranco.
Now, I would like to second it, but I think the addition of what the Windward Planning Commission added is a good idea. So I'm wondering if you could rephrase your.
So Commissioner Dela Cruz, are you willing to add on that amendment?
Yes.
Chair,
Director Darrow?
I apologize for interrupting. We also are requesting to include the correction to 25271C6, which was just had the incorrect section referenced. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Dela Cruz, are you willing to add in that to your motion?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner DeFranco, are you okay with that?
Yes, with the second addition and to also include the correction. Yes, I will second it.
Okay, so motion was made by Commissioner Dela Cruz with those two amendments and seconded by Commissioner DeFranco. Discussion? I would like to make a few comments. Commissioner DeFranco, you go ahead first.
I just think it's really important that this is done, especially if there's a lawsuit on the table about it. And I'm sure there's a lot more that maybe can be clarified in the future when things are looked at. But I think this is a very good first step in making it equal. Yeah, with no discrimination. Thank you.
I would like to just make a comment to the testifiers that submitted testimony. We have heard you. The planning department has assessed all of those issues. And again, we have heard you and we do feel for you, especially with the parking issue. It does impact all of our communities. And again, I just want to thank you for testifying and we do recognize your concerns. And if no fellow commissioners have any comments for discussions or questions, let's call for the question.
Thank you, Chair. The motion is to forward a favorable amendment as adopted by the Windward Planning Commission at their April 2025 meeting, as well as the director's correction to section 25271C6. Commissioner Dela Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner DeFranco,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Noborikawa,
Aye.
and Chair Ao.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0 with Commissioner Kanuha excused and absent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Camaro. The commission's recommendation will be provided to the county council. At this time, can we go ahead and take a 5-minute recess? Right now it's 11:09. Let's come back at 11:15. Thank you. I would like to recall the Leeward Planning Commission meeting on April 17, 2025 back to order, and the time is 11:21 a.m. Okay, so at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to agenda item number 3, Initiator County Council PLCCI 2025-000010. The County Council has referred a bill for an ordinance to amend Chapter 25 zoning, Article 3, Section 25-3-3 of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2016 edition as amended, relating to the establishment of zoning districts. The zoning code currently requires the boundaries of special districts to be defined with a meets and bounds description and a map. The purpose of this bill is to grant the planning director the authority to designate alternative methods for defining special district boundaries when deemed appropriate. So at this time, Mr. K, can we go ahead and have staff presentation?
Yes, thank you, Chair Ao and members of the Leeward Planning Commission. Good to see your faces again. Wanted to very quickly echo the other commissioners and Director Darrow with my thanks to Commissioner DeFranco for your service. Okay, as the chair stated, this is a county council initiated zoning code change. The Hawaii County Council has introduced Bill 29, which seeks to amend Hawaii County Code Section 23-3-3A related to the method of establishing of zoning districts as followed. And I will read about half of it. Any of the districts listed in Section 25-3-1 and 25-3-2 are or may be established for any portion of the county by being described by meets and bounds and in map form. And this is the proposed amendment, except that when deemed appropriate by the director, other means of description may be used in lieu of meets and bounds to establish any district under Section 25-3-2. So according to the bill's introducer, the zoning code currently requires a meets and bounds description and map to establish a zoning district, which is outlined in Section 25-3-1, or special zoning district, which is articulated in Section 25-3-2. This bill would amend the zoning code to give the planning director the authority to determine alternative methods to establish special zoning districts when deemed appropriate. Bill 29 was introduced to address challenges in establishing special zoning districts within Hawaii County, particularly in revitalizing older downtown areas like Pahoa Village. According to the bill's introducer, the existing requirement to define these districts using meets and bounds, which can be a detailed and costly surveying method, is a significant obstacle, especially in areas with numerous properties. Instead, the bill seeks to allow the use of alternative methods such as general geographic references like roads or landmarks to define district boundaries. This approach mirrors the earlier creation of the Kilauea Village Design Commission Special District and the Downtown Hilo Commercial District, which did not rely on meets and bounds, but rather reference landmarks. And just for reference, here are both the Kailua Village Design Center Special District on the bottom left, and then the Hilo Downtown Commercial District on the right. In the case of KVDC, it was described with a mix of TMKs and other geographical references and mapped here based on that description in the code. In the case of Commercial Downtown Hilo Special District, it was described using the river as well as a series of streets. And so this bill is intending to give the director the authority when he deems it appropriate to use this alternative method similar to what was done in the past. Meets and bounds surveys offer a precise, legally recognized method for defining property boundaries, which is especially important when processing individual property rezonings, subdivision requests, parcel line adjustments, or land use changes, as they provide the level of detail needed by zoning authorities, developers, lenders, and title companies. However, when establishing special zoning districts, which can encompass dozens or even hundreds of parcels, requiring a meets and bounds survey for each property can become prohibitively costly and time intensive. Instead, special zoning districts can be established using specific TMKs and general geographic references such as streets, shorelines, or other recognizable landmarks. And also, with advancements in geographic informational systems or GIS technology, special zoning district boundaries can now be digitally mapped using shapefiles. These maps can be referenced in the county council ordinance and incorporated into the planning department's GIS system, ensuring the boundaries are clear and enforceable for future land use actions. Now I want to talk about a friendly amendment. As we were reviewing the request from the county council, it appeared to us that the zoning code does not explicitly require a meets and bounds description for the establishment of zoning or special districts. Specifically, the current language in section 25-3-3A states that such districts are or may be established by meets and bounds and maps, which reads as optional rather than mandatory. Despite this, the planning department has consistently required the submission of a meets and bounds survey and map prepared by a licensed surveyor as part of change of zone applications to clearly define the rezone area boundaries and avoid creating split zoned lots. The planning director fully supports the intent of Bill number 29, and based on the proceedings suggests a friendly amendment to the bill to further amend the zoning code to explicitly require a meets and bounds description and a map be prepared by a licensed surveyor for the establishment of all zoning districts, with the proposed exception by adding shall and by a licensed surveyor as follows. And our friendly amendment changes are bolded. In this case, we changed the may language to shall, and we add that the meets and bounds description and map must be provided by a licensed surveyor. And then the county council's proposed language stays the same, except that when deemed appropriate by the director, other means of description may be used in lieu of meets and bounds to establish any district under section 25-3-2. That's the section, again, speaking only to special districts. Finally, the language in Bill 29, along with the proposed friendly amendment, does not eliminate the requirement for a meets and bounds description when creating a special district. Instead, it provides the director with the flexibility to use alternative methods of identifying a special district when appropriate, which will allow the director to consider the unique circumstances of each case and determine whether a meets and bounds description or another method is most suitable. With that, the director is recommending that the commissions forward a favorable recommendation of Bill 29 to the county council, including the proposed language outlined in the planning director's friendly amendment. Next steps for us are both the Windward and Leeward planning commissions are required to take action on Bill 29 by transmitting their recommendations to the council by June 26th of this year. Each commission may recommend approval of all, some, or none of the director's suggestions. Each commission may also recommend their own revisions to the bill. Both commissions' recommendations will be forwarded separately, but at the same time to the county council for their consideration and decision. And in the event a commission fails to act on the proposed bill by this date, such inaction shall be considered as an unfavorable recommendation by that commission. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions the Leeward Planning Commission may have.
Thank you, Mr. K. Fellow commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. K? Okay, with none, we'll go ahead and move into public testimony. Do we have any in-person testifiers?
No, Chair.
Okay, do we have any Zoom testifiers?
Aloha Chair, we do not have any Zoom testifiers.
I understood Council Member Ashley Kirkowitz was online.
Yes, she's currently online.
Hi, aloha, Councilwoman. Can you please raise your right hand so I could swear you in? Do you affirm to tell the truth in front of the Leeward Planning Commission?
I do.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead, Councilwoman Kirkowitz.
Thank you, Chair, Aloha Commissioners, Ashley Kirkowitz, council member who has initiated this particular bill for ordinance. I really appreciate the favorable recommendation that's being forwarded by the department and stand ready to answer any questions that you might have about the bill. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for the testifier? Okay. I do have a question. Ms. Kirkowitz, do you support the friendly amendment from the planning director?
Yes, I do. Thank you for asking.
Okay, if we have no questions, thank you, testifier. Do we have any more testifiers? Okay, at this time, we will close public testimony. All right, fellow commissioners, at this time, I'm prepared to accept a motion so we can start discussion. Vice Chair Noborikawa.
Thank you, Chair. I move that a favorable recommendation be forwarded to the County Council on the proposed amendments to Chapter 25 zoning, Article 3, Section 25-3-3 of the Hawaii County Code 2016 edition as amended, docket number PL-CCI- 2025-000010, based on the planning director's recommendations and including the proposed language outlined in the planning director's friendly amendment.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Vice Chair Noborikawa and seconded by Commissioner Dela Cruz. Fellow commissioners, any discussion? Vice Chair Noborikawa.
So I'm in favor of this amendment, having worked with a jurisdiction in Western Washington, not here in Hawaii, but having worked with a jurisdiction that looked at plans, things that were submitted by surveyors, and also having been part of a project within my department to look at the use of handheld GPS systems for our field work and identifying things in the field. We found that, the mid-90s, it was terrible. But by 2010, we were at the Planning and Development Services Department actually allowing submittals from licensed surveyors using GIS technology, and it's continued to today. I mean, it's a whole lot better. You got like 5-centimeter accuracy or more. So it's a new technology, and I think we should make this change so that we can keep it open for newer technologies, because it's only going to get better. And so that's why I'm making this motion for a favorable recommendation. Thank you.
I would like to make a few comments, or just one comment. When applicants and developers come in front of the commissions or the county council to do a project or to do something that they want to do, there's always costs involved in that. And, a lot of times there's unnecessary costs. And I appreciate Councilwoman Kirkowitz bringing forth this bill and working with the planning department to help the burden on costs for things that have to be done in Hawaii. So thank you very much. With no more discussions or questions, can we call for the question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to send a favorable recommendation to the County Council on the proposed language included in Bill 29, as well as the Director's Friendly Amendment, Vice Chair Noborikawa,
Aye.
Commissioner Dela Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner DeFranco,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Chair Ao.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion carries with 5 aye votes and 1 excused.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Kirkowitz. The commission's recommendation will be provided to the county council. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 4. Discussions on letterhead updates and recommendations for Olelo, Hawaii inclusion. The recommendation to the mayor by Vice Chair Noborikawa to include Olelo, Hawaii alongside English on letterheads for relevant departments and groups such as the Planning Commission. Vice Chair Noborikawa, as initiator of this request, would you please provide any backgrounds or your reasons for requesting this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair Ao. So in 1978, the state basically approved the use of Olelo Hawaii in as an official language, designated it as an official language. On the screen, you see here some of what the state has done, which is like, for example, the Land Use Commission, their name is also included in Olelo Hawaii. When I returned in 2016, that was about all you could find. I think we need to do more, and I would like to have the Planning Commission look into that possibility.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Noborikawa. So at this time, we'll go right into public testimony. Do we have any testifiers in person?
No, Chair.
Do we have any testifiers online?
Yes, Chair, we have 1 testifier on Zoom.
Okay, was that you, Ms. Roar? Can you please turn your microphone and your screen on?
It is actually Mahina Paishan.
Okay. Hi, aloha, Miss Paishan. I was going to call you Commissioner.
Aloha.
Nice to see you on the other side. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you affirm to tell the truth in front of the Leeward Planning Commission today?
Yes, I do.
All right. Go ahead. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Aloha, Chair Ao, Vice Chair Noborikawa, and members of the Leeward Planning Commission, as well as the planning staff. Aloha. My name is Mahina Paishan, and I'm a resident of O'oma, North Kona, Hawaii. Mahalo for the opportunity to offer testimony in strong support of the recommendation by Vice Chair Noborikawa to include Olelo Hawaii alongside English on official letterheads for relevant departments and commissions, including the Planning Commission. To provide further context to my testimony in support of this recommendation, I referenced the Draft General Plan 2045, which states, Hawaii Island is a place of rooted heritage, constant change, and unique beauty. As we navigate our future, maintaining a sustainable balance between environmental stewardship, social equity, and economic sufficiency, it is paramount that these values be articulated by our communities that are also adopted in community development plans and are synthesized to form a singular vision statement for Hawaii, one that reflects our shared aspirations and kuleana to future generations. As you know, and as we know, the goals of the general plan were shaped through the integration of the 2005 general plan, providing a comprehensive understanding of our island's priorities, one of which is to ensure that there's both continuity and intentionality to guide sustainable development while honoring our cultural heritage and our environmental heritage. Therefore, language is integral to these efforts. The inclusion of Olelo Hawaii in government communications is a step toward normalizing and honoring the language of this land, the indigenous language of this land. It reflects our collective values and demonstrates respect for the heritage and identity that are deeply tied to Hawaii, our home. Vice Chair Noborikawa has been a consistent ally in the perpetuation of Ike Hawaii and Olelo Hawaii. This recommendation to update official letterheads is one that I wholeheartedly support. So as we plan for the future, I believe that this will be a signal. If this recommendation goes forward, this will be a signal to all of our residents, to all of our business owners, and to all of our policymakers that we are serious about continue to deepen our cultural, our responsibility to Native Hawaiians, Kanaka Maoli, and the second official language of the land, which is Olelo Hawaii, and it should be a language that we all care for, honor, and help to perpetuate. With that, I respectfully urge
You have
all
30
of you
seconds.
to support the recommendation and to work with the mayor's office to implement Olelo Hawaii inclusion official communications. This action will affirm our shared vision, foster cultural dignity, and move us closer to a Hawaii island that thrives with intention, equity, and aloha. Mahalo nui for your thoughtful consideration. And I stand here to support your folks' efforts. And I will personally work as a private citizen with the mayor's office if passed, to work with them to
The
implement
minutes are
these
finished.
efforts.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much. Aloha.
Thank you, Ms. Paishan Dewart, for your testimony. We have heard you. Thank you very much. Do we have any more testifiers in Zoom? Okay, at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to close public testimony. And I would like to ask for a motion so we can discuss. Vice Chair Nobuikawa?
I move to recommend to the mayor and to the planning director that all communication related to land use and planning be available to the community in Olelo, Hawaii, and specifically all communication forwarded from the planning commissions regarding land use planning materials.
Thank you. Could I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion was made by Vice Chair Nobuikawa, seconded by Commissioner De La Cruz. And I'd like to start off the discussion by saying I think this is a great motion. I support it. Hawaii is a very unique place. And, when developers, even our residents, public people go online and they see our agencies and they see that we are addressing our native Hawaiian heritages, and we're recognizing the people of the Hawaii Island. I think it's great, and that's what makes us so unique. And I'm honored to support this motion. Any more discussions? Vice Chair Nobuikawa?
Thank you, Chair O. So this motion is left broad so that we can have more to discuss about what exactly we'd like to start with and where we'd like to see things go.
Any other fellow commissioners would like to say something or discuss?
Sure.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
My question is it just land use, or is it going to cover more?
Vice Chair Nobuikawa?
As I said, I left it broad. Right now, for the Planning Commission, our job, so to speak, is to make recommendations to the mayor and the planning department about land use things. But I think, by us taking this step, it will lead to other things. We may not have a finger in those other things, but it will encourage other groups within the county government to do similar things.
Okay, thank you.
So Commissioner Rodriguez, basically, we just want to start the conversation and discussions to add it on to our department, which is the planning department and the planning commission. And what Vice Chair Nobuikawa wants to do is to continue that conversation potentially with other agencies. But our kuleana is with the planning department and the planning commission. Director Darrow?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Vice Chair, for bringing this forward. Definitely needed. planning department is supportive. The question is processed, and what we will do is take this time to look at the correct process to bring this forward, whether or not we have to change some rule or some code or possibly the charter. I'm just not sure. We'll have to work with our attorney and figure out the proper avenue. We can look at other examples, but definitely we will begin that process. Once we do figure that out, and it's something that we can, provide like a planning director initiated in response to the commission's desire, we can go ahead and do that. If it's something more than that, we will inform the commission. Thank you.
Chair Ao.
Vice Chair Naboy-Kawa.
Thank you, Chair Ao. I would like to make a motion to defer my motion to the, I believe, June meeting so that we have more time to discuss and Planning Department has more time to provide us some of this background information.
Okay, Commissioner De La Cruz, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, motion to defer this agenda item to the next Leeward Planning Commission meeting. Can we just go ahead and take a voice vote? If you are in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Correction, that would be to the next, to the June Leeward Planning Commission meeting.
Aye.
Please indicate that you
Yes.
voted yes.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. That concludes all of our agenda items. Sorry, we have Planning Director reports. Report on special management area determinations and minor permits issued by the Planning Director for December 2024, January 2025, February 2025, and March 2025. The SMA report for December, January, February, and March was distributed via email. Commissioners, do you have any questions on the SMA report for staff? Please just take your time and go through them and just address me if you have any concerns.
Hello.
Sorry, Commissioner DeFranco.
I'm glad to see that Kona Magic Sands is coming up for repairs. Is that the park? Is that Aloha? What is that?
Director Darrow.
This is the apartment complex that's right next to the Kona Magic Sands Beach Park. I'm sorry, Magic Sands Beach Park. They've had damage to their seawall, and so they're asking for repairs to the damaged areas.
Thank you.
Do we have any testifiers for this agenda item online or in person?
None in person, Chair.
We have one testifier online. Audio board.
Okay, I just want to remind the testifier that you need to identify which item that you are testifying on, and only that item can be testified on. Ms. Rohr?
Yes. Thank you. I'm testifying on PL-SAA-2025 000280. The planning department exempted construction at a transient STVR that I've been complaining about since
Ms. Rowe,
2000.
excuse me, can you please restate the number?
PLSAA dash 2025 dash 30280.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ward. Can you just give us a moment to look for it? It is on the March 2025 report.
I
For
think it's
fellow commissioners to
for
look at.
331.
And it's in the blue line item number 2. Thank you, Ms. Ward, for
I'm not
clarifying that.
looking
We just
at
want to
it.
make sure that we're looking at the correct one that you are testifying on. So please go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
The planning department exempted construction at this STVR that increases the building envelope and the space for gatherings. And this place already has an issue with hosting 12 people without asking if they're a family. And they get so many cars in there, they have to back out onto OE Street, and it's a big mess. Anyway, after this was wrongfully granted under the theory it was a single family residence, but after May 3rd, 2024, the effective date of Act 17 and the changes to HRS 46-4A, the director and the planning department no longer have the authority to provide SMA exemption available for single family residences to buildings and premises with transient accommodation uses. Under strict statutory interpretation, construction to existing buildings or premises used for transient accommodations that add bedrooms or increase the gathering capacity of the transient accommodation increases the density or intensity of use of the land and are included in the definition of development. The building and premises used for transient accommodations at 14 OE Street is a wrongfully certified non-conforming use. No family lives there, and the owner does not regulate that only a family can rent the premises. I can prove that now, Jeff. I signed up to rent the transient vacation rental at 14 OE and the one
You have 30 seconds left.
for 12 of my husband's fraternity brothers. And I said that they were all arriving at different times. And I did also rented the house next door for 16 of my husband's fraternity brothers and notified them that they'd all be arriving at different times, which actually is circumstantial evidence that this owner uses an AI
3 minutes are
program.
finished. Thank you for your testimony.
I'm okay. Anyway, this was, Jeff should meet with me to resolve this.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rohr. Thank you for your testimony. We have heard you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rohr, for your testimony. Okay, at this time, we will close public testimony. Commissioners, do you have any further questions for the department regarding these 4 months of SMA reports? No, okay. Oh, sorry, Vice Chair Nobukawa.
Thank you, Chair. So I have a question regarding this project that Ms. Rohrer just testified on. Is this something that the Leeward Planning Commission can do anything about since it is in the Windward Planning Commission's area of purview?
Planning Director, would you like to take that question?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair. This, any of these particular permits or requests, SMA requests, can be discussed at each of the hearings. In regards to action, this particular, if it was to come before the Planning Commission, it would need to go before the Windward Planning Commission. In this particular case, the applicant submitted a special management area assessment application, although they were located inland from the shoreline. Our rules say that if you are located along the shoreline and you're doing a single family dwelling, you would then submit an assessment. In the past, single-family dwellings along the shoreline were exempt, regardless of cost or size. Then at a particular time, they ended up saying that they were exempt as long as they were not over 7,500 square feet, the actual dwelling itself. At this time, the law has changed again, and it says construction or reconstruction of a single-family residence that is less than 7,500 square feet of floor area is not situated on a shoreline parcel or a parcel that is impacted by waves, storm surges, high tide, or shoreline erosion, and is not part of a larger development. This section falls under what development is not. And so if a homeowner comes in and they want to construct a dwelling and they're located inland away from the shoreline, not on a shoreline parcel, they would just go straight to a building permit. When it was our review, we have what's called a short form assessment that we do it in-house. It's nothing the applicant does. And we will exempt it based on this exemption. Additionally, under 205A-22, number 2, subsection F, it says repair, maintenance, or interior alterations to existing structures. A is construction or reconstruction of single-family dwellings. So basically, it covers the dwelling and improvements. It doesn't trigger the need for a SMA permit as long as it meets this exemption. I'm not sure what Ms. Rohr is referring to regarding the transient accommodations. There was quite a number of dwellings that are in the SMA that are either registered short-term vacation rentals or they have non-conforming use certificates. They didn't require SMA permits, so I'm not sure where that information is coming from. So again, we look at it clearly from 205A in regards to the allowances for exemptions. Thank you.
Vice Chair Nobukawa.
Thank you, Director Darrow. So am I to understand that the short answer is no, the Leeward Planning Commission would not be looking at this project because it is in a different side of the island?
Well, it's not that they wouldn't, I mean, this application didn't trigger a permit that would go before the Planning Commission. If it is an exempt action or if it triggers a minor permit, which is normally something that is considered development but the cost or is under 500,000, or if it does not have a significant adverse environmental ecological impact, then it would remain. The authority has been given from the commission to the department to take care of those types of actions. And that's why we take care of it and we present the logs showing the planning commission what the department has done with the authority that was given to us from the commissions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do we have any more? Commissioner DeFranco?
Yes, this is for Director Darrow. So I know when we were looking at the STVRs and bed and breakfasts, and we did a lot of research, there was some thought and conversation about creating a body of, or a group or a position in the planning department that would respond to complaints or look at these things, and they were going to be funded by some of the money coming in. Is that still, it is.
Chair.
Go ahead, Deputy Director Darrow.
Thank you. Commissioner DeFranco. So what happened was when Bill 121, I'm sorry, not Bill 121, Bill 108 passed, I believe it was in 2019. It changed the zoning code and put in the whole section of 25-4-16 relating to short-term vacation rentals. As part of that, it also includes the monies that come in create an account for enforcement and for staffing. And so that has been utilized, the staff of currently 7 positions. Some are planners, some are clerks, some are inspectors, and they work on STVR types of issues. As I mentioned earlier tonight, there's a webinar that's going to be launching the next phase of this, which is to try to regulate hosted rentals, possibly a new type of registration, and hosting platforms. So it was similar to Bill 121, but they're taking a different approach. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. But at that point, it probably will relook at staffing again and enforcement, because it's going to generate another whole section of short-term vacation rentals that need to be monitored and enforced. Thank you.
Commissioner DeFranco?
Do you know what time the webinar is by chance?
I believe it begins at 5:30, and the best way to get the information is to go to www.hawaiicountytar.com and should have a link to the webinar as well as any information that would be relative to the webinar.
Sorry, Hawaii County .tar or just Hawaii County Tar? .com. Thank you.
Let me just.
Thank you, Director Darrow, for that information. So again, the webinar is at 5:30 p.m. tonight if you're interested. Do we have any more questions regarding the SMA report for the 4 months? If no questions or concerns, I want to ask the commissioners, do you have any matters that you would like to see agendized for the next meeting? And Maya, how many items do we have for our next meeting?
Chair, you have 3 items for the next meeting. And you will have at least 1 more planning commissioner. Rebecca Kavehi Inaba was confirmed this week to fill the at-large North Kona seat that was vacated by Mahina Paishan. There's also Alexandria Lexi Ayers. Her nomination was heard at the committee, and she received favorable support. So her confirmation hearing, I believe, is in 2 weeks. And if she's confirmed, she'll also be joining you hopefully in May. And she fills the South Kona seat vacated by Commissioner DeFranco.
Okay, so by then we'll have a full commission, I believe, right? Okay, commissioners, do you have anything else that you would like to see on the next agenda item? If not, we'll go to announcements. So the next Leeward Planning Commission regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 15th, here in the County Council Chambers in Kona, and the public can also testify via Zoom. The date and venue of the meeting are subject to change. Staff, do we have any other announcements?
No, Chair.
Okay, before we adjourn, I would like to say another farewell, but we won't forget you, and we'll see you again, Commissioner DeFranco. Thank you for your service. And aloha, everybody. With no further business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion to adjourn was Vice Chair Nobuikawa, seconded, and farewell to our Commissioner DeFranco. Let's take a voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
no opposition. This meeting is adjourned at 12:07 p.m. Mahalo, everyone, and have a good rest of your day.
Closed captions transcript will be terminated shortly, and those who wish to see the transcript could do so now.